Well, hello everyone. My name is Dale Swanson, and I have the privilege of hosting our New Life podcast, NLC Food for Thought. Normally we have Pastor Fernando with us, but today we have a special guest, Zach Stewart. Zach, welcome.
Welcome, New Life.
Yeah, we're glad you're here with us. Many of you heard past Sunday us talking about coffee and a new coffee ministry outreach that we're going to have here at the church. And so, Zach, in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus talks about being salt and light. He says that, a lamp is not to be hidden, it's to be visible, and that we're supposed to be kind of a beacon, a light on the hill. And he says, let your light shine before men. So how in the world can coffee and coffee drinking and hanging out and what we're doing enable us to be a light to the world?
Well, honestly, first, it has to be shown. So it has to be visible. So the community has to be able to see it. So a coffee cart is one just visual aspect to open that up to the community. So when people pass by, they see a coffee cart. They may not know anything about it, but at least they know that, hey, this guy's here for a purpose. Let's check it out. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation and see where that leads. And that's kind of just being on the corner of Alomar and New Life, and just being that picture of the church and what it has to offer, and then introduction to what the coffee cart is.
Okay, awesome. Now, unfortunately, the church sometimes gets a bad rap for doing things kind of, I'll just say, not with high quality. When you think of like a church potluck, it's maybe like, sometimes you're bringing, Kentucky Fried Chicken. There's nothing wrong with that, but you're not bringing like your best homemade goods sometimes, right. Or you're bringing a box of Oreo cookies. And so when they think of like coffee in church, they might be thinking, it's not getting the greatest quality because churches don't have a lot of money. So what do you think about that, and how's this going to be different?
So it's going to be different. Just one, because of the intentionality behind the coffee. I'm going to be roasting the coffee. I wouldn't drink it if it wasn't good, honestly. So I've kind of crafted and perfected what I feel like is a very good cup of coffee, and I only source from sustainable farms throughout the nation, and I believe that it's a very high quality cup of small batch coffee that honestly is pretty cool because you only may get it one time. It's that small scale, so it comes from all of these awesome farms, and it's something that is very small batch. So if you have it 1 week, it's a potential that you may not have it again because it is that small scale.
Wow. So, I'm not a coffee drinker. You know that. Some of our viewers are, and some of you don't know a whole lot about coffee. So first, could you just share with us this whole journey for you into like roasting your own coffee? Like, how did that happen, and what do you actually do to make that happen?
Yeah. So I moved here 2.5 years ago, and I was trying to think of something that I could do while raising the kids that I could do and kind of help my family. Coffee's expensive, so I thought, you know what, I could try to learn how to do this, make it good. I had no intentions of selling it or anything like that. But so fast forward, a year and a half from now, I am selling it. I am making for my family, friends, and a lot of others throughout the U.S. But it's just one of those things that you have to be passionate about something, and if you're not and your heart's not in it, then you're just not going to give it the quality and care that it really deserves. And coffee is very delicate, like anything with that, and it's a very easy process for people that know the background. But you have to be very intentional with how you roast, and you can roast from light to medium to dark, a lot of in-betweens, but I feel like it's in a presence where you have to be there. You have to kind of cater and mold it into what you want it to be, just like the relationships that we're building and that we will and want to build with the coffee.
Wow, that's an awesome analogy, because you're right. So it takes time to build relationships, and we're hoping this coffee cart will do that with our neighbors. So how long does it take for you to actually, you get the beans like raw or fresh or
Yep.
whatever, and then how long does it take till you can actually make coffee with them?
So you can pretty much make it as soon as you get the green beans, which are from a cherry plant that is grown typically in another country just because of the climate. But from start to finish, from roasting till you can drink it, it's typically about a week to 10 days.
Wow. And you're doing this in your home?
Yeah.
So like in your oven? Is that how you do this?
No, so I have a very small scale drum roaster is what it's called, and it's basically just a way for the coffee to spin through a heated element cycle. Just think of kind of like just a drum wheel that spins over and over again and is heated in a very kind of climate-based temperature control. So,
wow, that's fascinating. So you're clearly passionate about this, and so when a regular someone who's a coffee connoisseur like you, who likes coffee and different kinds of coffees, if we advertise that at New Life Church we're going to give away for free small batch coffee, what does that mean?
well, just for people around here, I think it means there's a lot of coffee that people have probably tried around here. They may or may not, think it's great, but I have tried everything around here, and other than one or two places, I think it's right up there on par, if not better, than some of the ones that we're serving currently.
Wow, that is awesome.
I know that's a statement to put out there, but honestly, you can ask my wife. She's the same coffee connoisseur as me, and I would believe she would back me up.
No, that's awesome. I love that confidence, and that's wonderful that we would offer that. So you mentioned that each batch can be different, but so if people start coming to this, the quality will be the same. It just might have a little bit of flavoring difference. Is that what you're saying? Like maybe one's a little darker or whatever, or has a different kind of essence about it?
Yep. So it really depends on, honestly, the type of bean and then the way that you roast it. Typically the lighter roasts are going to bring out a more fruity, acidic taste. And once you start getting into the darker roast, and there's nothing wrong with that, but typically people that like coffee without cream or sugar or anything like that tend to lean towards the light and medium roast coffees.
Wow, this is awesome. Like, you are clearly the person, if we're going to start a coffee ministry, to lead it. Like, it's clear your passion, you got a lot of knowledge. So if people wanted to participate, once we get the coffee cart built and all that, what would you hope? What kind of people do we need to be a part of this?
Honestly, anybody can learn how to make coffee. It honestly just takes time, energy, and just being passionate about, even if you're not passionate about coffee, passionate about meeting people and hearing and learning their stories and just developing relationships that you can continue to mature over a period of time. But basically just someone that has the time, that can devote an hour or 2 hours a week to this, and kind of just see where it goes. And all the info would be given to you up front on how to make the coffee, or actually explain coffee if people have any questions, which I'm sure they will. Which is honestly my favorite part, is just explaining how the process is done. And when you actually get someone that's interested in that, your ears perk up, you're ready to go.
Well, no, with this kind of vision started with me asking you just a lot of questions about what you're doing. I mean, you had the vision, but I got more and more interested, and it is fascinating. I'm not a coffee drinker at all, and you kind of make me want to become a coffee drinker just because it sounds so good. So maybe I'll eventually be a customer. So let me ask you this. If we could fast forward a year from now, and this coffee cart ministry, for lack of a better term, is up and running regularly, and it's a full, huge success. What would success look like for you?
Well, one success would be just bringing people to New Life Church or this coffee cart ministry that we didn't know before. Obviously, meeting and feeling a part of this community more so than we already do now. So for me personally, being able to see people in the street when I walk by and be like, hey, I know you.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with you. And by the way, did you like the coffee? It's okay if you didn't, but if you did, awesome.
Yeah. No, that's great. We're not going to, for this endeavor, put out stacks of Bibles and, play tapes of me preaching on Sunday. But yet we can still be a light. So for those that are out there wondering, there's that weird tension of we want to meet people, we also want to know Jesus. How do you see that playing out through this?
So I'll relate it to just something that I actually just found out about recently, which was actually just something that's been done in IV for a while. It's called Jesus Burgers, and it's something that just meets people where they are. Just doesn't matter their past, their background, but allows us to just be an entry point into their lives, regardless of whether it's coffee, burgers, or pizza. It's just something that brings light to something that I'm passionate about, and then allows us to see into their lives and see how we can be a presence in that person's life.
That's awesome. And, it really fits in with what God has been speaking to us for a couple of years now with the table, that, Jesus did a lot of his ministry, around meals. And I'm convinced if Jesus was walking the earth physically today, he'd probably be in a lot of coffee houses.
I would say so.
Because that's where the people are. That's where they're hanging out. And he would just want to have that conversation around a place where they're comfortable. So we're hoping that kind of thing will happen. For those of you watching, and if you're part of our Ohana, our church family, we would love for you to be a part of it. We're expecting lots of beautiful, wonderful conversations and new friends, and some who will say yes to Jesus and some won't. And we'll love them and they'll be our friends regardless. And we hope ultimately through our friendship and your great coffee and whatever else comes, they'll find the love of Jesus in a very pure and maybe different way. So if you've been listening to this, our NLC Food for Thought podcast usually ends with something around food or drink or whatever. And so, you said you've tasted a whole lot. So what's your favorite go-to place for a cup of coffee if it's not yours? And actually before that, tell us the name of your roasting company.
So it is called Awkward Exchange.
All right. And if someone was interested and wanted to get some, how could they do that?
So just go to Instagram, Facebook, type in Awkward Exchange Coffee. I should pull up. I post anything within like month to 2 months every time I have new releases. Basically, I'll just post them on there. And we can message it up and
okay,
get you
great.
started.
So going back to the original question, favorite place to get a cup of coffee?
Honestly, it is Dune Coffee. They have 4 locations without the Santa Barbara Goleta region. But this is just a side note. I just started working at Dune, and honestly, you always think of something as a good before you actually see the process. And working and just being a part of that culture has not only made me love their coffee and their just culture and community more, but it gives me the strong hope that this coffee ministry is going to touch a lot of people's lives in the next year, 2 years when it gets started, because of how much I see a culture within coffee that's not centered around God, and how cool it is to see people come back day after day yearning for a relationship.
Wow.
And they're missing something.
Yeah. Wow, that's a fantastic observation.
Yeah.
And I pray that will happen with us. You're right, that they're going to love your coffee, and there's going to be neighbors and maybe people further away from our neighborhood. They're going to come to 50 East Alomar on Monday mornings, early in the morning, because what you just said. They love the coffee, but they're longing for relationship. And ultimately, they don't even know what they're longing for is a relationship with God himself. Yeah. So I've been to Dune before. I think it's awesome. Not the coffee. I'll just get, a great tea or whatever, because I like to hang out with my friends.
Ham and cheese croissants heated up.
Ooh.
That's good.
Nice.
And they get it dropped locally, or it's from LA, but it's a local bakery every day. So I'd highly recommend it.
Oh, man. I'm going there for sure just for that. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to us or watching us. Follow us, extend this, what we hope is a gift to people, conversations to others soon. And we look forward to, hopefully in the summer, hopefully June or July, that Awkward Exchange Coffee will be brewed and consumed by people here at 50 East Alomar. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.